The first test that we will use is Tonopen, and with that we need to calibrate this instrument. It's already calibrated, and instill a drop into Allison's eye. It will lightly touch, recording readings and beeping, and once it gets multiple readings, it'll average them and give us a digital readout on the end, much like a thermometer does when you stick it in a little child's ear. Eye pressure is usually measured in millimeters of mercury. The normal range for most individuals is 15 plus or minus 5 points, so a range of 10 to 20 is a very typical range. Now, just because someone pops up above 20 doesn't necessarily mean they have the condition of glaucoma. Glaucoma is typically a higher eye pressure that also has with it shape change to the nerve. The internal nerve shape changes over time, and you have a coinciding visual field loss. Now, many people we follow have high eye pressures, but they don't have shape changes to the nerve over time, and those people we just follow their pressures and monitor the appearance of their nerves. Allison doesn't have any of these shape changes to her nerves, and I'm sure her pressures will be fine today. But we're going to put drops in now to numb the surface of the eye so we can perform this test. We're going to put a drop of anesthetic in Allison's right eye so that we can use the Tonopen and make it a little more comfortable for her during this testing. This is just tetracaine, and it'll take just a few seconds to numb the front of the eye so that she will not feel the Tonopen when we use it. Of course, she's a contact lens wearer. She probably could even tolerate it without any anesthetic, but she's opted for it today. Now we'll perform the actual testing procedure. It takes just a matter of a few seconds. Allison, just look straight ahead out there for me. The test is performed by just lightly touching the surface of the eye. Then the Tonopen stops, pressure of 19, which is within the normal range. We're now going to do tonometry on Allison's left eye, and this time we're going to use the procedure called Gольdmanu tonometry. Now we're going to do it a little bit differently than we typically would. Usually would use a drop that is not only an anesthetic, it has a yellow dye in it, but Allison is a contact lens wearer, so I'm going to use the tetracaine again and then use a large molecule fluorescein strip, which once it's in the eye, the yellow dye is in the eye, it won't be absorbed into our contact lenses, whereas the fluorescein would absorb into our contact lens and permanently stain it. Look up for me. And this is the large molecule fluorescein strip. We'll just wet this with a couple drops of saline, and then you just swab that onto the lower portion of the eye. There should be plenty of dye in there. And then we need to use the microscope. Now with this instrument, this blue light is the tonometer tip, and this is removable. That's cleaned between every patient. There's a little prism inside of here that splits our images, and what we're going to look for is two half circles. Now, if they're like this, our pressure isn't high enough as we adjust it up here. As we move across and the insides of each half circle touch, that's our point of neutrality, or a point where we're actually measuring the appropriate pressure. And these are called Myers, M-I-R-E-S, and those half circles are the means by which we measure the eye pressure. I'm going to hold Allison's upper lid so she doesn't blink the tonometer tip off the surface of the eye. We're going to come in close to the eye and then adjust it with our fine adjustment knob down below. And once I'm on the surface of the eye, I will adjust the power by using the knob up top. And there it is. Our pressure is 17. The third instrument we're going to use today is the non-contact tonometer. We use this instrument out in the pre-screening area, and with this instrument we're going to reflect a certain amount of air onto the surface of the eye. It's going to bounce back, and the machine right here will measure that amount of reflected air. If more is reflected, it's a higher pressure because it's a harder eye. If it's a softer eye, more of it will be absorbed with the impact of the burst onto the surface of the eye. Most people don't like this puff test, okay? But Allison has been nice enough to volunteer for us today. Allison, you can put your chin right in there for me. It's a simple alignment process, And when you get the Myers nice and clear, it's just a matter of point and shoot. And there's our measurement of 14. And it automatically goes to the other eye. And we can measure that one as well. Just a matter of focusing it, raising your chin a little bit, and press and shoot. 14 and 16, both within the normal range.